Welcome to the Sitka Sound Cruise Center. If you visit Sitka on a Southeast Alaska cruise, you've got two options for where your ship will be. One is out here at Sitka Sound. There's space for 2 cruise ships to dock, and some ships will anchor near downtown and they'll tender guests ashore. So they use small boats like those ones up there, to take you from the ship and then of course drop you off at the shore and bring you back. But if you're docked out here at Sitka Sound, they have this beautiful cruise terminal building. There's actually a couple buildings up here, those wooden glass buildings that you see. So you just walk from the ship up there, and then they have a whole fleet of shuttle buses that take you into town. So Sitka Sound Cruise Center is about 6 miles outside of downtown Sitka. So the city of Sitka has provided free shuttle buses to take you from Sitka Sound and drop you off in downtown. When you get off the ship, head right to this big wooden archway. That's you'll find the buses up through here. Plus there's a little information booth. You can download an app about Sitka. You can rent e-bikes here at the terminal. There's a restaurant under this wooden archway. This is also where you find the independent tour operators. So if you didn't book a tour through the ship and want one, you can pick one up here. And then at the end, you'll see the sign that says shuttles into downtown.
You can walk to the next park.
So the buses in town will drop you off at a building called Harrigan Centennial Hall. There's more information available in this building. There's also a little museum if you want to check it out, and there's restrooms available. So as you're out and exploring, you can stop by here. Plus, as you can see, more independent tours. If you decide you do want to take a tour, you can come here. Right across the parking lot is the Sitka Public Library. That's that building just on the edge of the parking lot. They've got Wi-Fi there. So if you're looking for Wi-Fi on your cruise, Sitka Public Library is a pretty popular spot. So again, this building is called Harrigan Centennial Hall. I want to show you this map over here called the Sitka Directory, because this is one of my first stops every time I come to Sitka, because it's got this great map with all of the main attractions outlined on it. So I always just snap a photo of this map. That way you have it on your phone, ready to go. You can download that app that I mentioned before, or just snap a photo of this. It'll tell you how to get to all of the attractions. Let's go see some of these attractions. You can see a small cruise ship anchored out here in Crescent Harbor. I'm still right next to Harrigan Centennial Hall. That's Harrigan Centennial Hall. That's where the buses drop you off. If you're on a cruise ship that anchors in the bay and tenders guests ashore, it comes to the same place. So right here's the tender pier. When you walk up, you're at Harrigan Centennial Hall. So whether you are out at Sitka Sound and take the buses in, or you're anchored and you tender in, your adventures all start at the same place. So we'll use that as the beginning of our adventures, Harrigan Centennial Hall in downtown. The first place we're gonna go is across the water, where you see those trees sticking out in the distance on the other side of the boat basin. We're headed right for there. That's the Sitka National Historic Park. Let's go see it. I mentioned the Sitka National Historic Park. That is where we're going. That's where the totem trail is. But this building behind me is just about a 2-minute walk away from Harrigan Centennial Hall. And this is what is called the Russian Bishop's House. Sitka used to be the capital of Russian Alaska. And so the bishop for the Russian Orthodox Church would live in this house. The ground floor is a museum, self-guided. Upstairs is where the bishop lived. You do need a ranger-led tour to do that. It is free, but they have different times that they run. So if you're interested in doing this, head right here off the shuttle. You can explore that museum, but check in with the rangers first. See if they have tours that day and if they still have space available and what time you need to come back. But again, you can explore that museum. They also have a great little map that shows you what Sitka looked like back in the Russian era and can identify things that are still standing, such as the Russian bishop's house itself. So very close to the shuttle drop-off point, easy to check out. But I'm going to cut back across to the waterfront to keep making my way into the rest of the national park. That museum, by the way, it's free to explore. I'm now about a 10-minute walk away from that shuttle drop-off point, and this building behind me is the Sitka Sound Science Center. So if you are interested in especially the underwater world of Sitka, this is the place to come. Plus they have a fish hatchery here. So right now, salmon have returned. You can see salmon in the stream as they're working at the fish hatchery. Right now it is August, really around July they start to come here. And there's a building over here that I want to show you as well, because right across the street from the Science Center is another museum. It's called the Sheldon Jackson Museum. See the sign for it now. Let's see if I can show you the building. It's a really unique octagonal shaped building. It was one of the first concrete structures in Alaska when this museum was built. So it's right over there with the dome on the top, so you can see the building back there in the distance. Actually, this whole campus, you can tell it looks a bit like a college campus. At one time this was Sheldon Jackson College. It is no more. I wish I had known about it, because it looks like a gorgeous campus. Would have been a great place to hang out. So Sheldon Jackson Museum is the place to go if you're interested in Alaska Native. So there's a lot of Alaska Native artwork and other artifacts from all over the state of Alaska, not just here in Southeast Alaska. Then the Science Center building, this building used to be part of the college as well, but now it's a science center if you're cruising with kids or just have an interest in, like I said, the underwater world here at Sitka. That is a great place to check out. They will also do guided tide pooling. So if you wanted to explore what washes up, what stays behind in those tide pools, check their website before your cruise. See if they offer that on the day that you are here, because they do offer it on occasion. Sometimes I've also seen people working. This is part of the fish hatchery. It's part of the Science Center. I've been by here before and saw people working, making sure there's lots of salmon for future generations. So you can do guided tours. A stop here is included on mini shore excursions, but you could also just walk here on your own. Again, only about 10 minutes from where the buses drop off. Just beyond the building, in the sawmill, that's where the gift shop is. Also, you can stop there for seafood chowder. Used to be a chowder cart that was always parked out here, and now they've incorporated it, made it part of this building. It's part of the Science Center. So I've been walking about 10 minutes from Harrigan Centennial Hall. I just turned to the right, kept the water on my right. I've been following the coastline all the way out here. It's all a flat paved sidewalk. It's about to turn into boardwalk just ahead, and this will guide you right to the national park. Coming into the Sitka National Historic Park now. I left the shuttle about 15 minutes ago. I walk pretty fast, so it could be 20-25 minutes to get out here. So right behind me is the visitor center. So this area is the visitor center over here. Some exhibits to explore. Of course, you can get your national park passport cancellation stamp, and they also have restrooms available. You can actually access those from the outside, so you don't even need to go into the visitor center. So if you just wanted to do the totem walk, you could hit those restrooms. I know what matters to you when you're in port. Get asked that question a lot, where the restrooms are. So they've got them out here at the national park. And then you just follow the sign to the totem trail. Totem trail loop, that's where we're headed. This is the the entrance to the totem trail. It's about a 1-mile loop with more than a dozen totem poles found through here. So it's through the forest, it's on the coast. A nice little walk. There are bears active in this area, as that sign says. So you just want to keep alert. Don't take any sausages with you. This is one of my favorite places in Sitka. See that one totem pole behind me? There's another one a little bit down the coast. You just keep following that loop trail. I'm going to take a little shortcut here and bypass some of the totem poles to head over to Indian River, just because I'm trying to show you as much in one day as possible in a pretty compressed amount of time. So I'm just going to take this shortcut, but you can go either way on the loop, so you could come this way. But it's so nice out there by the coast. We've got totem poles, the ocean, but this forest is gorgeous too. When you're in the Sitka National Historic Park, of course, do that totem loop, enjoy the totem poles, enjoy the views along the coast, but you're looking for this. This is the pedestrian bridge over Indian River. So that's the body of water running right here. Right now, again, this is mid to late August, this stream, this river, full of salmon. So many salmon found in here. If you're visiting July, August, maybe even early September, have a look, see if you can see some salmon. Also be sure that you check the trees for bald eagles, sometimes even some bears passing through here. You can get a great view from the bridge looking down at all of the salmon. I want to mention that a lot of organized tours stop by this bridge, so if you're enjoying the scenery, the calm, the quiet, the peace of nature, and suddenly a couple dozen people show up with you, just give it a few minutes. Typically they just stop by, then they go into the rest of the park. The place becomes yours again. So hang out here at Indian River, either along the shores or on that bridge. But when you're exploring the park, you're looking for this bridge because it's what takes you over to another part of Sitka. Some pretty cool attractions there. Let's go see them. I'm going to film still here in the forest because it's really noisy out there once we reach the main road. But I can see the bridge from here, so I'm about a 1-2 minute walk away from that pedestrian bridge over Indian River. If you just stay straight ahead, keep coming off the bridge, you're going to end up in a small parking lot. When you get out to the main road, if you turn to the right, there is Harbor Mountain Brewing Company, just about a 5-minute walk from there. So you could go get a local brew. They also have a pizza place on scene. And if you go the other way, so you come out the main road, turn left, then you can get to the Alaska Raptor Center. You can walk to the Alaska Raptor Center from the shuttle drop-off point in probably about 25 minutes, but my favorite way to do it is to do the national park first, do the totem trail, then just take that few-minute walk over to the Alaska Raptor Center. Now this is a wildlife center. It's where injured birds come, specifically bald eagles, but they do have other birds there as well. The whole point of the center is to rehabilitate these birds so they can be released back into the wild if they do make a full recovery. So you can go see the birds that are recovering. Plus they have what they call raptors in residence. You get a presentation from a staff member, see one of these birds up close. They also have some open air exhibits where you can see even more birds. So lots of shore excursions go there, but it is close enough in town. You can walk there. And as I said, I like to combine it with the National Park and the Raptor Center because they are pretty close to each other. I'm not sure if you can read this street sign right there, but that is Raptor Way. And this is the sign for the Alaska Raptor Center. So just right up there, that's where you will find the Alaska Raptor Center. If you are coming from the national park, just be careful. No official crosswalks here. You can see they've beat their own trail through the ditch, but just be careful crossing this road. A lot of tour traffic, a lot of traffic in general. This road behind me, quite noisy. This is Sawmill Creek Road, one of the main roads here in Sitka. So you are going to get a lot of traffic here. It will be quite noisy. But if you follow it the way we are, so again, come across the bridge after the parking lot, turn left, we're going to walk right past the Alaska Raptor Center, and then it will lead you to the main traffic circle in town. So we've reached this main traffic circle in town. Well, we were on Sawmill Creek, and then it becomes Halibut Point Road, plus there is Lake Street. There is a food truck park. You'll pass this when you're on the buses on the way in. So all different types of food you're able to get here in this food truck park. You'll see a lot of food trucks in Southeast Alaska. There's a lot in Juneau. I'd say Sitka is probably the capital of food trucks for Southeast Alaska. Look for it in this food truck park near the traffic circle. Again, your bus will pass it on the way into town. Plus on Lincoln Street, the main street that has the church on it, lots of food trucks there. But I want to show you across the street where it says Swan Lake Park. And it is believed to play a very important role in Alaska's history. As you may have heard that the US bought Alaska from the Russians for $7.2 million, roughly 2 cents an acre, but 7.2 is not a very nice even round number. And so it's believed that everything was set to buy it for $7 million, but that 0.2, that 200,000, was because of what's right back there, Swan Lake. Swan Lake operated as an ice business. So in the winter, obviously that lake turns into ice. They would cut the ice out of it and ship it as far south as San Francisco. So the US decided not only did they want the land, they also wanted that business. So the price went up to $7.2 million so they could get Swan Lake as well. So it's a very unassuming little lake. Unless you have extra time on your hands, I wouldn't necessarily head there. You pass it on the bus so you can see that piece of history. There's just so much to see and do in Sitka, with the park, with all the museums, everything in town. I don't know that I would take the time to go out there. It is a lovely park, so if you have extra time, by all means, or pick up something from that food truck park, then cross the street and enjoy it at the lake. That's another great option. We're back in downtown now. We're going to check out Lincoln Street. It's largely considered to be the main street in town, home to the shopping, most of your restaurant options, and some of the main attractions. Now, when it comes to shopping, Sitka is not necessarily the shopping mecca that Juneau, Ketchikan, and some of the other Alaskan ports are. This town still very much has its small town charm. So if you're looking for more local stores, Sitka is the place. If you're looking for broadly marketed souvenirs, you might have better luck in Juneau and Ketchikan, but they do have some of that here as well. But again, Lincoln Street, that's where you're going to find most of your shops. There's a sea salt company, some clothing stores. They have an outdoor store as well. More food trucks here. A honey store, honey stand. Ashmo's is a great local seafood food truck. What you see right behind me is St. Michael's Orthodox Cathedral. This is just about 2 blocks away from where the shuttles drop you off. So this is the Russian Orthodox Church in town. The original church that was here actually burnt down in the 1960s, but it was built in the mid-1800s, and this one has been built as close to that original as possible, just with fire-resistant materials now, and anything that was saved from that original church is on display here. So you can visit the church, suggested donation $5 per person to visit inside of the church, and typically in peak cruise season they do limit the time when independent visitors can go in, because they have some shore excursions that stop by. So if you want to visit on your own for this year, it's between noon and 2 in the afternoon. You can stop by, pay your $5, and explore this church and get a little Russian history right here in Sitka. Just 1 block back from Lincoln Street is something that I think a lot of people miss here in Sitka. This is the Russian Blockhouse. So I mentioned that Russia used to control Alaska. Sitka was the capital of Russian America, so they had a fortified city. And throughout the city wall, they would have blockhouses, similar to this one, that would house cannons to help protect their settlements. So this is a replica blockhouse. You can't go in it. I don't know if sometimes you can. I've been here a couple times and you've never been able to go in it when I've been here. You can come check it out. They also have a lot of interpretive signs as you take the walk up here that will tell you more about what the Russian settlement was like, the purpose that the blockhouse served. It's not necessarily very well marked to get here, so that's why I think a lot of people miss this. But it's right next to the Sitka Pioneers home, and the retirement home here in Sitka. Again, just 1 block off of Lincoln Street, so not a far walk at all. It's on Marine Way or Marine Street, so very easy to find, and rarely ever anyone here. There's been a couple people each time that I've come, but no crowds, and you can learn more about the Russian influence on Alaska and the Russian presence in Sitka. This is one of my favorite hidden gems in Sitka. If I'm looking for a quick bite to eat, this is where I come. Yes, it's a pharmacy, but they also have an old school ice cream counter. So I love coming here. Harry Race Pharmacy at the end of Lincoln Street. You can see the counter just inside. Plus, if you just come to the end of the block, that's where you can catch the trail to head up to Castle Hill. So a lot of times I will get ice cream and then come down here and take the stairs up Castle Hill, or just come right over here to the park and enjoy my ice cream in the park. Today, such a beautiful day, nice and clear, beautiful views of Mount Edgecombe volcano across the water. Right here is Castle Hill, also called the Baranof Castle State Historic Site. So on this side it's stairs, on the other side there is a ramp, but let's go have a look. This is at the top of Castle Hill, or the Baranof Castle State Historic Site. This is where the U.S. flag was raised for the first time on Alaskan soil. This is where the transfer took place between Russia and America, so they raised the American flag here when they took it over. For years this had been a hub of activity. The governor lived here, the Russian governor, that is. The Russians had a bunch of buildings here. Before that, the Tlingit probably used this place as well. This was such an important place because there's a great view from up here. So if you had a settlement in this area, you would have wanted to have a fortification on this hill, a lookout spot, so you could see if anything or anyone was coming for you. So it's a very historic location. I have to say, nowadays, not a lot up here. There's a cannon. There are about 5 or 6 interpretive signs to tell you what is here. They don't even fly the flag anymore. These flagpoles are usually empty. Everything's in a little bit of a state of disrepair, so some nice views. It's a nice easy add-on to a trip because you can access it from Lincoln Street and you can then exit very close to the shuttle. So this is another site that wouldn't necessarily be at the tippy top of my list if I'm trying to make the most of my day, but if you have time to come here, it is a very historic site since this is where the transfer took place, so it makes a nice addition to your day in Sitka. I'm just coming down the other side from Castle Hill. That's Castle Hill up there. From Lincoln Street there are stairs, or actually right behind that pharmacy there's a gravel path that will take you up to Castle Hill. From the other side there's a ramp the whole way, so even suitable for wheelchairs or walkers. It's just a bit of a climb, but there is a ramp to get you up there. When you come down the water side of Castle Hill, you're less than a 5-minute walk back to Harrigan Centennial Hall. You're going to pass by a few more food trucks, plus there's Mean Queen. This is a great place for pizza. If you're looking for lunch, you can come here. And then we just walk along the water, get back to the buses, head back to the ship. Just keep in mind the line for the buses can get long if you've got to take that shuttle. So factor that in. Also, if there's multiple ships in port, make sure you check and see what time the last shuttle is for your ship. It's usually 30 minutes before the all aboard time, but always double check things. The last thing you need on your vacation is a bunch of extra stress. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please like, please subscribe. Also check out my book, Seymour, Alaska, for all of this information, plus so much more in print, because Sitka is also a great place for tours. It's a great place to visit Fortress of the Bear, plus otter tours. I love the otter tours here in Sitka. Big rafts of sea otters hanging out together. Sometimes there's baby sea otters sitting on their mummy's tummies, just so super cute. So lots of great tours, so much more to see and do in Sitka. Hope this gave you a good start. Enjoy your cruise.